to you by the Las Cruces Sun News. This is Straight Shooter.
What is going on, everybody? This is Justin Martinez, aka Jay the Sports Dude, and if you are listening right now, let me just say thank you for tuning in to Straight Shooter, the podcast where I shoot from the hip and give you everything that you need to know about the New Mexico State men's basketball team. This is episode 18 of our season-long journey, so if you're a returning listener, then welcome back. I missed you, and if you're new to the program, well, then welcome to the family. Where have you been all my life? Guys, we have a great one in store for y'all this evening, so kick back and relax because I got you. Let's get started. I'm coming to you from a place I like to call the Saloon. So Barkeep, what do we have on tap for today?
On tap today is a recap of last week's games, an interview with William McNair, and a preview of the Cal Baptist game.
Alrighty, thank you, Barkeep. I have my lasso in hand, and it's time for our post-game roundup, the segment where I round up my thoughts on the most recent New Mexico State games. And in this case, the Aggies earned a pair of road wins last week. The first was a 67-53 victory over Grand Canyon on Thursday, followed by a 62-46 win over Cal State Bakersfield on Saturday. And here are my takeaways. My first one comes from New Mexico State's win over Grand Canyon, and it's that Trevelin Queen is on pace to be back to full strength by the start of the WAC tournament. Now, the senior combined for 12 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 turnovers in his first 3 games back with the team after receiving arthroscopic surgery to fix a tear in his lateral meniscus. But he put together his best post-injury game against the Lopes without question. Queen racked up 14 points, 8 rebounds, and recorded 0 turnovers in 22 minutes. Now, what impressed me the most was his explosiveness, which I think he was lacking in those first few games back. Understandably so, keep in mind, because he did return ahead of schedule. But anyways, Queen tied for a season-high 5 offensive rebounds. He had a number of putbacks, and he even had a vicious dunk in the first half that made highlight reels. Now, this is the type of explosiveness that I've been waiting to see since his return, and he delivered that on Thursday. Now, with the WAC tournament still 10 days away as I'm recording this on Monday, Queen is in great position right now to be back to that leading scorer, that menace that everybody fears in the conference. Now, I think that the timeline of his recovery process really couldn't have been any better, and the team has to be ecstatic with his performance against Grand Canyon. But now, it's time for roundup number 2. So my second takeaway also comes from the win over Grand Canyon, and it's that the Aggies aren't losing to anyone in the WAC when they rebound as well as they did in this one. Now, crashing the glass has been part of New Mexico State's MO since the start of the Chris Jans era, but even he has said this season that he doesn't feel this year's team has had that same rebounding prowess as previous Aggie squads. That has changed as of late, though. So after tying for a season-high 17 offensive rebounds in last Saturday's win over UTRGV, New Mexico State shattered that total in the win over Grand Canyon by recording 25 offensive rebounds. Now, let me just throw out a couple of crazy statistics to put that into perspective. So the Aggies had more offensive rebounds alone than Grand Canyon's total rebounds, which was 20. New Mexico State also had over 3 times as many offensive rebounds as it did turnovers, which was only 8. And finally, the Aggies recorded 26 more field goal attempts than the Lopes because of this dominance on the glass. Now, when New Mexico State rebounds like this, honestly, it doesn't matter how the team shoots. The Aggies actually went 26 for 71 from the field and 5 for 28 from behind the arc in this contest. Those 45 missed shots marked the most by the team in a single game all season, but the sheer volume of attempts just kind of negates that, honestly. And I've said it before, New Mexico State has the pieces to dominate the glass in every single game. They have 4 players in the top 12 for the WAC in offensive rebound percentage. Consistency has been the problem this season in that department, but Thursday's game shows just how unbeatable this team can become when it's rebounding at its best. But now, let's get into roundup number 3. So my third and final takeaway is from the Cal State Bakersfield game, and it's that Evan Gilliard II is one of those guys who can thrive in any role. Now, the primary role for Gilliard last season when he played for UTEP was as the top scoring option. He averaged a team-high 13.6 points per contest, but only ranked 4th on the squad in assists per game, despite playing at the 1 spot. So it was clear that really he thrived as a volume shooter, but obviously that was going to have to change, at least for this this season with the Aggies, and to Gilliard's credit, he has embraced that so far. Now, Saturday's game was just the most recent example. The junior put up a really impressive stat line of 9 points, a team high 6 assists, and he also set a season high for rebounds with 6, which is exactly what New Mexico State needs out of its starting point guard. Unselfishness, some aggression on the glass, and the ability to score if needed. Now, he did commit 3 turnovers, which is going to have to change, but even with that considered, this is one of those performances that can fly under the radar but deserves a lot of praise. So shout out to Evan for a great outing. So that buzzer means that is all the time we have for segment number 1. Now it's time for segment number 2, which is an interview with William McNair, a redshirt freshman who hasn't seen a lot of playing time this season, but in the moments where he is on the court, he has shown a good amount of potential. He figures to have a much bigger role on the team next season with so many players graduating. So with this year winding down, I thought it'd be a good time to sit down with him and talk about what he has learned so far. Barkeep, change the channel real quick.
You got it, boss.
Guys, 1 away from perfect season in WAC play. Just what would that mean to you for you guys to finish that off this week?
We worked really hard for that, so we expect nothing less but to go losers inside of the WAC. We know what we're capable of, and I guess 16-0 is what we're capable of. And we did what we had to do, and we got one more game to go to do something special.
Yeah, definitely. Last time you guys faced Cal Baptist, you were entering their inter-conference play with a 9-6 record. Some question marks, but it just seems like you guys have answered every single challenge so far. Just what has changed with this team since you last faced Cal Baptist?
I guess we doubled down with the players we have. We didn't expect nothing from the injured players. This all we got. All we need at the end of the day. And we got it done.
Yeah. Just as a redshirt freshman, you have really great resources with you, a lot of seniors and redshirt juniors you can learn from, specifically bigs. Just what are some things you learn from guys like Yvonne and Johnny and CJ?
They try to tell me, just be patient. Don't try to get everything together at once. Just be calm, be collective, and just keep working hard every day. It's gonna come around eventually.
Yeah. You mentioned patience. Just how much have you kind of learned to just make the most of whatever time you get out there on the court?
I try to play my hardest every time I'm out there. Try to run the floor as hard as I can. Try to block every single shot. Then grab offensive rebounds to give us more opportunities to score the ball, and just try to play the best defense I can.
Yeah. Now, this being your first year of eligibility, obviously you got long career ahead of you. What are some things you're still trying to work on personally with your game?
My post skills, staying down and in the stands. That's the biggest struggle for me on defense. Just staying down and being engaged. Because when the ball is away from me, I can tend to lose focus and just rise up out of my stance, and that can get me that can mess up my mindset or something, just not being in the stands.
Yeah. You mentioned just that anytime you're out there, you just want to give your 100%. It seems like there's really not any selfishness with this team that regardless of how many minutes somebody gets, they're just going to give it their all when they get out there. Can you kind of speak to that, just how unselfish this group is?
We are brothers, so at the end of the day, we're gonna do what we have to do to win. So nobody's going to be selfish out there. It's more than somebody minutes. It's more than that.
Yeah. Wins is all that matters to you guys, pretty much.
Yeah.
And just as you guys are getting ready for the WAC tournament, just where would you say your level of play is at right now?
At a very high level. I feel like we can do something special in WAC leagues and have a great opportunity to advance to the March Madness and then play whoever we have then.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I like to end all these interviews by suggesting nickname ideas to the guys that I'm interviewing. So if you have some time, just want to bounce a couple nicknames off your head, you tell me how you're feeling about them. Sound good?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so starting off, first one, McNair Jordan. How you feeling about that one? Pretty cool. No,
not yet. Maybe when I'm a junior or senior, when I get up there.
But a goal to reach it.
Goal.
Okay. Now, next one, whenever you get the ball in your hand and you're at the rim, just seems like you always got bad intentions, ready to throw it down on somebody. So how about Ill Will McNair? How you feel about that one?
I like that one.
That was a little bit colder?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
Ill Will, yeah.
Now, last one, we know you're from Philadelphia, correct? So how about the Liberty Belldozer? How you feel about that one?
Not all the way there.
Not that one?
Yeah,
okay, so which one? So was Ill Will your favorite one?
Yeah, Ill Will.
Ill Will, okay, I got you, man. Well, that's all that I have. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
Alrighty guys, so that was William McNair talking about where his game is at right now, where he can improve, and also just what he has learned from some of the very experienced players on this team. Shout out to him for taking the time to talk to me. Also, he is rolling with Will McNair. That is my personal favorite as well. Let me know which one you guys are feeling in the comment section below. But on a serious note, this guy I think has shown a lot of promise, and especially with Ivan Adekoechea graduating this summer, I think that he's really going to fit in and be that nice bruiser that the Aggies need down low. Someone that can pair up really well with Johnny McCants, who is going to spread the court at that 4 spot because McCants is returning. He's a redshirt junior. So I think that's going to be a really good pairing, and I think great things are to come for Mr. McNair. But that is going to do it for segment number 2. Alrighty, so now it is time for segment number 3, which is a preview of New Mexico State's upcoming home game against Cal Baptist on Thursday at 7 p.m. This is the regular season finale and senior night for the Aggies, but it's basically the Lancers championship game since they aren't eligible for the WAC tournament. They are 21-8 on the season, 10-4 in WAC play, and they're hoping to avenge an 86-71 loss to the Aggies in the first meeting of the season. Here are some names that you need to know about. The first one is Milan Aqua, a 6'3" junior who is averaging team highs of 18.2 points, 5.9 assists, and 1 steal per contest. He's one of the few legitimate 3-level scorers in the WAC, meaning he can score from up close, from the mid-range, or behind the arc. And he torched the Aggies for 24 points on 6 for 14 shooting, 3 for 7 from deep in the first meeting. Now, even though Aqua plays at the point guard spot, I'm expecting Jabari Rice to get the assignment here because his 6'4", 180-pound frame is a much better matchup than someone like Evan Gilliard II or Sean Buchanan. And the key here is to keep Aqua off the free throw line. So his 132 free throw attempts ranks second in the WAC, and he went 9 for 10 from the charity stripe in the first meeting. He is elite at drawing contact, but Jabari is actually pretty darn good at not getting called for fouls. He only commits an average of 2.86 fouls per 40 minutes according to Ken Palm, which is the 13th lowest average in the conference. Terrell Brown also is actually second in that category with just 1.6 fouls committed per 40 minutes, but he's coming off the bench. Either way, those are the 2 guys that will be guarding Aqua for the most part, and they have a tall task ahead of them. Now, another player to watch out for is Dejon Davis, one of the most underrated players in the WAC, in the sense that you don't hear his name much when talking about the best bigs in the conference, but you should. So the 6'7" senior power forward is averaging 11.9 points and a team high 9.9 rebounds per contest. He's a walking double-double who is shooting 56.6% from the field. That ranks 3rd in the WAC, and he does his damage almost exclusively from inside the arc. He's going to pull the trigger on a deep bomb maybe once a game, but this guy is all muscle, and he will bully you down low for those close range shots. Davis recorded 6 points and 9 rebounds on 3 for 3 shooting in the first meeting, and I don't think it was a matter of the Aggies containing him as much it was just him not being aggressive enough. We'll see if he is calling for the ball more this time around. So Johnny McCants is going to get the matchup here, and the key is to keep Davis off the offensive glass without question. This is a guy who leads the WAC in offensive rebound percentage with 11.3%, and that's where he provides the biggest momentum boost for the Lancers. Getting those second opportunities and putbacks are his specialty, and it'll be up to McCants to keep him under wraps in this one because this is already one of the most lethal offenses in the conference. The last thing the Aggies need is for the Lancers to get extra opportunities after a miss. So for that reason, that is our duel of the day. So my third and final player to watch out for is Farron Flavors Jr., a 6'3" redshirt junior small forward who is averaging 13.7 points per contest and is shooting a conference best 43.7% from deep. This is the most dangerous marksman in the WAC, and he went 3 for 8 from behind the arc in the first meeting to finish with 17 points. Now, Trevelyan Queen is going to get the matchup here, and the key for him in this one is to stay committed to that 3-point line. There can be no caving in to double team Dejon Davis. There can be no going under on screens. Flavors is too much of a sniper to do that, and he will make you pay. There were a number of occasions when that happened in the first meeting, and you are playing with fire in those instances. So Queen has the height at 6'6" and plenty of reach to make life difficult for Flavors. It's just going to be a matter of giving him his undivided attention on the perimeter from start to finish. But now it is time for my key to success, and that's for New Mexico State to take advantage from close range. Now, this is a matchup of the two best three-point shooting teams in the WAC, but where the Lancers consistently get outplayed this season is inside the arc. So 58.2% of points scored against this team come from two-point range, which is the 9th highest percentage in the entire country. And New Mexico State outscored Cal Baptist 46-22 in the paint the first time around. I think the three-point shooting will cancel out like it did in the first meeting, but look for Ivan Aracoachea and Johnny McCants to be the difference down low. So now let's get into my predictions. So can I get a drum roll, please? So for this one, guys, I'm going with New Mexico State by a score of 82-74, and I think it's going to be a shootout. But the Aggies' presence in the paint is going to put them over the top, and they will complete their perfect WAC regular season with a record of 16-0. But that is going to do it for episode 18 of Straight Shooter. Thank you so much for listening. It's so crazy that the regular season is coming to an end already. It really has been an insane ride, and it's about to get even more wild with postseason play approaching. I'm looking forward to it. But anyways, please leave a like, a retweet, a comment, or any sort of feedback depending on whatever platform you're using right now. I really do appreciate the support. This has been Justin Martinez, aka Jay the Sports Dude, and I'll see you guys next Monday. I'm out.